Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're getting into a really powerful personal essay that uncovers a fear so many of us have but rarely talk about: the fear of being replaced. It's a feeling that can quietly, shape our entire approach to relationship. So let's just start with a question that gets right to the heart of this feeling. It's probably familiar to a lot of us. It's that nagging sense that your spot in someone's life, a friend, a partner, whoever, is kind of just on loan, and that sooner or later, it's going to be reclaimed. And that feeling of being temporary, as the writer of this essay describes it, isn't just some fleeting worry. For some people, it's a belief that's been there since childhood, a quiet but totally firm certainty that our place in people's lives is never, ever permanent.
And the really crucial thing here is that this wasn't seen as something malicious. It wasn't about the other person being cruel. It was just accepted as, well, an unchangeable fact of life. People move on. And because of that, people are replaceable.
So, this deep-seated anxiety, this core belief, it doesn't just sit there quietly. It leads to a very specific and, let me tell you, an utterly exhausting set of behaviors. All of them designed to try and stop what feels like it's absolutely going to happen. To fight this constant fear, the author came up with this really elaborate coping mechanism, a survival strategy she calls becoming an emotional juggler. It's basically a non-stop performance designed to prevent the inevitable. And these are the rules of that performance. I mean, look at this list. It's an impossible balancing act, right? Be available, but also be mysterious. Be interesting, but never too intense. The whole goal was to become so perfectly fine-tuned to what the other person needed that they'd have absolutely no reason to look for a replacement, to just become the perfect, frictionless companion.
But all this constant effort to be the perfect person, well, it didn't create some deep, unbreakable bond. It had the exact opposite effect. It didn't make her irreplaceable. No, it made her invisible. And here's the deep irony in all of this. The strategy completely backfired. In this desperate attempt to become irreplaceable, she became invisible. The more she tried to be a perfect mold for somebody else, the more her actual self just disappeared from the relationship entirely.
And this gets right to the heart of the paradox. By trying to erase any potential flaw, any possible reason for someone to leave, she also erased her true personality. She got rid of all the quirks and the depth that would give someone a reason to actually stay. There was nothing authentic left to connect with. So when that people-pleasing juggler strategy eventually failed, and it was always going to fail, it wasn't replaced by healing. Oh no. It was replaced by this powerful, almost resentful reaction, a whole new defense mechanism built on the complete opposite principle. You can see the strategy just swung to the other extreme. The juggler, who was all about being pleasing and available, got replaced by the wall, a new persona that was distant, ironic, and basically pretended not to care at all. The performance of constant connection became a performance of aggressive disconnection. But this whole protective wall, this performance of not caring, it was just another mask. It was a different costume, sure, but the same actor was underneath, hiding from the very same fundamental fear of being left behind and forgotten. So, what was the ultimate result of both strategies? Exactly the same. Whether she was hiding to please someone or hiding to avoid getting hurt, the outcome was identical. Her true self was completely absent from the relationship. This painful cycle of failed strategies, it eventually leads to the final, powerful epiphany. It's this moment where the entire problem gets reframed, shifting the focus away from the other person and onto herself. She finally realized it. The fear of being replaced had become a self-fulfilling prophecy. And why? Because you can't connect with a person who isn't really there. You just can't form a real, lasting bond with a ghost. All of that time spent worrying about who would be next, who would be better, it was all just a distraction. The big realization was that the problem was never about someone else taking her place. That empty space in the relationship, the void that made it all so fragile, it wasn't waiting for a replacement to come along. It was created by her own absence,
long before anyone else had the chance to leave. In a way, she had left first. And this leaves us with a really thought-provoking question about our own lives, right? In our efforts to be loved, to not be left behind, are we truly showing up as ourselves? Or are we, in our fear, creating our own absence and asking people to connect with a performance instead?